Good morning. It is 7:38 on Friday. Boogie with the Bull, the Friday free-for-all is live on YouTube. Go find the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, scroll down, find the post that says we are live. Plug on that one and hit the live chat, and you will be in the Boogie with the Bull YouTube live chat. We'll go into opening statements. Randy Rhodes will do that. Then I will do some linking magic so that we appear on StreetLock and on Facebook. And you can watch on both of those. But if you want to be in the YouTube live chat, you got to come over to the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. Search Boogie with the Bull, scroll down that list, and you'll find one that says live with the red and white lettering on it. And tap that one. You will be in the Boogie with the Bull YouTube live chat and be part of the fun. Good morning, Mr. Rhodes.
Good morning, Mr. Glovin. I actually woke up early today, so I
saw that. I was rather impressed.
I was actually awake at 6 this morning. I just kind of woke up. I was laying there thinking to myself, I could get up, get a shower, and eat breakfast and have my coffee made since
thinking, was there smoke?
I'm sorry?
Was there smoke? Did you wake up your wife?
Oh no, she sleeps through everything.
Okay.
Since my producer fired the makeup guy and got rid of the food cart, at least it's up to me to have to do it all by myself. So I needed the extra time to do it. And I remembered to wear my red shirt today for Red Shirt Friday.
Red Friday.
I'm sorry?
Red Friday.
Red Friday. Well, that's close.
Remember everyone deployed.
Yep. And it doesn't have to be deployed overseas. They can be deployed here in the United States or any of our territories.
Everywhere.
And when you think about it, it's like I didn't realize how much territory we still own from all the different wars we were in. So when you go to you're doing sign up or something and ask you what your country, your state and country, if you choose state, holy smokes, all the weird names that show up of islands and islands of here, islands there. It's like, my God, I didn't realize we still own all that stuff. And then we want to talk about England being a imperialistic country, a colonial country, still owning all the stuff that they kept over the years. And here we are with our own. So, anyways, opening statement. Today is going to be a real test for freedom of speech for the conservative, because today is the official day that Elon Musk takes over Twitter. Yesterday, Dave had mentioned about Elon Musk walking into Twitter's headquarters carrying a sink.
He did.
And I mentioned about, we talk about women's purse, and, my dad always said, my mom had everything in there but the kitchen sink.
I heard today he pulled up with a 30,000-gallon pump truck. He was just going to hook that up, pump that puppy up, drive around the corner, find a place that he could release that stuff, clean it up, and then pump it back into Twitter.
So I had, I thought that his actually walking into Twitter carrying a sink was a meme or something stupid someone said somewhere, right? But last night on Newsweek, they showed Elon Musk in a blessed plane, like a T-shirt. Normally you see him in a suit, because that's when I see him in a suit. Here's his big ass sink.
I think I've only seen him dressed in a suit once, and it was more of a avant-garde tuxedo than it was a suit.
Well, I'm sure it was expensive, whatever it was made out of, but here he is walking into Twitter headquarters carrying a sink. I thought, oh my God, he actually did do that.
Mm-hmm.
I
don't lie.
Today,
I don't lie. At least I don't lie often.
No, I'm not saying no, but in my mind, I thought, your comment was made facetiously, or that well, I had to see it for myself to believe it. Right?
You're right. It was actually from I forget what network it was, but I saw it in the Google News headlines.
So today he takes over. So today's going to be a road test for freedom of speech for the conservatives and the Christians, to see if he actually holds to it, because he said he was going to allow freedom of speech. In fact, I'm looking at his open letter on Twitter to his advertisers. I'm going to take a moment just to read it to you. I want to reach out personally to share my motivation in acquiring Twitter. $44 billion worth of motivation. That's a lot of money.
It is.
There has been much speculation about why I bought Twitter and what I think about advertising. Most of it has been wrong. The reason I acquired Twitter is because it is important to the future of civilization to have a common digital town square where a wide range of beliefs can be debated in a healthy manner without resorting to violence. There's currently great danger that social media will splinter into far right-wing and far left-wing echo chambers and generate more hate and divide our society. In the relentless pursuit of clicks, most of traditional media has fueled and catered to those polarized extremes, as they believe that is what brings them money. But in doing so, the opportunity for dialogue is lost. So it sounds like, he's telling the advertisers that, we're going to have an open forum here. It's going to be like a town square kind of thing where people can come on board and just simply talk and say what they have to say. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does. Other than that, like Facebook has a tendency to squash freedom of speech or even of images. I found that out myself personally. I'm going to test some today, though, too, because as I've been doing my ancestry, I've been finding more and more Southern roots who fought in the war for the South. So I'm going to be posting images of those ancestors, along with their Confederate flag for the not the army, but for the company and the group that they fought for, whether they're cavalry, whether they're militia, whether they infantry, that sort of thing. And then just see what happens, because I remember a few months back I posted a picture of a Confederate flag as my profile, and somebody complained about it, and I got knocked off for 30 days. So I'm going to test them today, see what happens. It's freedom of speech. It's I've seen other people. There's actually rebel groups on Facebook who always flag a Confederate flag and variations of that. So I want to see what happens with me as an individual does that. So, freedom of speech. That was one of the reasons why, the colonials fought for the independence of a new nation from England. They wanted to be able to, print out, a newspaper. And back then it was like 1 or 2 pages, but, of thoughts, of advertising, of speaking out against the king and that kind of thing. And a lot of times they had their printers, destroyed and thrown in jail or into the gallows that have tomatoes and rotten fruit thrown at them. But, and again, I do believe there has to be some limitations on the freedom of speech, because, some people get really bad, really nasty, say some really nasty things. And I think those kind of thoughts on freedom of speech should be restricted, because that's what hurts people's feelings. It's what makes people antagonized to where they want to lash out. So a little bit of restriction on freedom of speech, but for most part, if you're talking about President Donald Trump, if you're talking about Joe Biden, or left or right, You should be able to discuss that. I mean, polls. I mean, you always see polls on Twitter. Of various questions. A poll is simply asking a person what they think. Okay, and so instead of me, talking for 15 minutes about my to answer a question, it's simply, do you believe that? Yes. Do you believe? No. What do you think is going to happen here? Blah blah. It's like only a couple words answer, but it's still a part of freedom of speech. Well, then, of course, then you have the marketer who's asking the questions. They can go and skew the results of it. I have a degree in marketing, so I know
You have a degree?
Yeah, I do. I actually have two.
Do we have to pay you more because you have two, or do we only have to pay you because you have a degree?
Well, since you're not paying me anything, double or nothing is nothing, right? If my math is correct. But in marketing, the questions are asked in anticipation of the answer going the way the marketer wants it for whoever's paying, the marketing fees. For an example, have you ever thought why certain foods in the grocery store are certain heights on the shelving? Well, all the sugary stuff is at your child level, so that child can see the sugar food, like the candy, cereals, and stuff like that, and it makes them say to mom and dad, "Hey, I want this." Otherwise, if they're stacked up here, a child who's only on this height can't see it, and not going to bug mom and dad to buy it.
But that same science works everywhere else in the grocery store. You go into an aisle that doesn't have anything sugary that your kids wanted. It's the same thing. Coffee companies pay for that same theory of premium space because they want your chock full of nuts wants to be the first coffee that you see. Not that anybody on the West Coast knows of chock full of nuts. They might, but same with Starbucks. If they're selling coffee in the grocery store, they want to be the first one that you see, because if you're buying it at home and brewing it yourself, at least you're still supporting
Right.
that company.
I mean, a vendor who has the ability to pay a particular store X number of dollars more will get premium location of their product, making the smaller guy, somewhere where obsolete, where you got to really look for it. Like I said, with the coffee, coffee's always in the back, and then they always have all the products around it. So, I need coffee filters. Oh yeah, I need this. Oh, this will go great with my coffee. It's all marketing. It's all gag to get you to buy more, like the buy one get one free or buy one get two free. You went in the store looking for a loaf of bread, not two, but then you look at it. Okay, well, 2 loaves of bread will save me 5 or 10 cents or whatever it's going to be. And to you, hey, 5 or 10 cents is a good deal, right? But now you have 2 loaves of bread. So you did exactly what the vendor wanted you to do. You bought more than you want, what you decided to go into. And it's all gag.
I just want to jump in for a second, which I always do. If you're watching on Facebook, anywhere on Facebook, it's in the Facebook news feed. I'm starting to get it into some groups. If you look at the bottom of your screen right now, you will see HTTPS, a whole bunch of StreamYard information. If you want to be on today's Friday Free for All, take that link, put it into your browser, log out of Facebook, and then hit that. You'll come into the Boogie with the Bull YouTube live chat green room, and we will bring you into the program. Anyone is probably welcome. So if you see that link, like I said, put it in your browser, log out of Facebook, and come into the Boogie with the Bull YouTube live chat green room, and you'll be able to join us. You may see it on StreetLock. I haven't gotten over there yet to take a look. We are live on StreetLock. We're live everywhere. We're live on YouTube in the Boogie with the Bull YouTube live chat. Let me get over here onto StreetLock, and there it is. Yep, it's on Street Lock. If you go in, you'll see it there as well. And come join us and have some fun. And if you don't want to come join us and have some fun, then watch it on Street Lock and watch it on Facebook. Share it on Facebook from the YouTube channel. Take it and share it everywhere you want to do that.
And invite your friends.
Invite your friends, friends. And when Melanie Smeltzer is around, we'll have that awesome coffee from toxicfreeinitiative.sissel.com. We will kick that in as a preamble to our business section, which we'll do later in the broadcast. Toxicfreeinitiative.sissel.net. Healthy alternatives for you and your body. Go over there and also look at that system, and then go over to Melanie Smeltzer's Facebook page, and there includes her phone number, which you can call her for a personal consultation if you need it. That broadcast we were doing on Tuesday, it got booted off of Facebook about an hour into the broadcast. We came over here to YouTube, and we sent it back to Facebook and Street Lock, and it is still there. So we are here talking about whatever is going on in the 2020 race. Make sure you are registered and go vote. I don't know which states you can be in that you can register the same day and go vote the same day. If you're in one of them, go register the same day and vote the same day. Show ID, whatever you have to do. I hope that you vote red. Randy hopes that you vote red. If you don't, all I can say is it's up to you. I can't guarantee that you're going to get the results that you want if you vote blue. I can't guarantee that you're going to get the results that you want if you vote red. But
my more of a chance to get what you want voting red.
Is if you vote red, the least it can do is get worse than it is now. The best that it can do is get much better than it is now, because Joe Biden's mantra, build back better, in my head is basically this. Donald Trump came and he made America great again, and Joe Biden took over and he's building back America to a time when Donald Trump made America great again. So read between those lines there. Anyway, like I said, if you are watching on Street Lock and you're watching on Facebook, you see the link. And if you really want to come on and be a part of the broadcast, please do. Okay, I'm sorry, Randy.
While you were talking there, my thought went back to what you were talking about in the green room. Folks, we say what we say because of how we believe and how we, want for our own families, our own personal families. If it disagrees with what, if our opinion disagrees with what how you feel, or how you want your family to live, then take Dave up on his invitation and come on board and talk. It's free speech. We're not going to shout you down. We're not going to get out our blowhorns and blow it in your ear like the left does. We're not going to. I just saw a video yesterday of this guy who was trying to talk, and he was live, and this girl was shouting at him. And I have no idea what his speech was prior to the video outside of the building, but she spit on him. Now, technically, he could have her arrested for spitting on him because he has no idea if she's carrying any kind of communicable disease. So he could have her arrested. I don't think he did. But that's how the left responds to controversial speech. Or let me put it this way. At least that's what the videos that we're watching makes it seem. Now, again, marketing being marketed, it could be construed a different way. Sorry, my hair is a mess today. It's getting too long. I need to get a haircut. But so the view that we're seeing may be, one sided. We're only seeing one side of your argument. But what I'm trying to say is, if what we say differs from how you feel or believe, then come on here, talk. We're not going to shout you down. We're going to listen to you, intelligently. We're going to hear what you have to say. We're going to come back and, maybe we might agree with some things you might say, or maybe we won't agree. But it's dialogue. And that's what our nation has lost, the ability to have a dialogue without resorting to violence. For an example, Ted Cruz was on Whoopi Goldberg's show the other day, The View, and
she didn't get up and beat him.
No, but whatever the conversation was prior to what Newsmax was showing, I guess they're talking about President Trump and what he accomplished for the country, and of course she won't even say his name, but she was saying how the right conservatives cheat at the polls and how we are violent. And then Ted Cruz said, wait a minute, did I miss the last year with Antifa and Black Lives Matter and all the violence that they did? And she talked around top of him and she said, I don't know what Antifa is. Like she's dumb, what Antifa is. And, she was trying to say that she does not know about Antifa or about the violence that they, created. And he was trying to explain to her about all the violence, the destruction of stores and casualties and murders coming from that. But the left doesn't want to see that.
It's been important for 4 years to say constantly, if you don't agree with me, you don't agree with the guests that I have. Randy Rhodes is still under contract and he's on. And when Jen Woodruff was here, if you don't agree with what came out of my mouth, like Randy just said, out of anybody's mouth on a broadcast, for 4 years, I've been telling people, if you don't agree, the stage is always open. As long as there is a camera available, because right now we only have 6. Next week, we graduate and we move up to StreamYard College. But there's only 6 cameras, and I've always said, I try to divide it up equally. So if there is a person that doesn't agree with me or something they heard on the broadcast, I get 3, me and 2 others, and you get 3, you and 2 others, if you can do that. And we all just sit around, like Randy said, and talk. And nobody's right, nobody's wrong. We just all have a right to do it. And if it's a rare event that there are actually 6 cameras on a broadcast and you don't agree with something, and I either can't free up a camera for you, then we will schedule the same amount of time for you to come and do it. And we'll even share it to you. You give me a list of groups, and as long as I'm able to share it to those groups, I will make sure I do.
I mean, it's just like, with politics advertised on TV. The network has to allow the equal amount of time to the right as it does to the left.
Oh, we don't, but we want to. We don't, but we want to. I mean, we can come on here and say, hey, no, Democrats, you're wrong. Socialists, you're wrong. And we don't have to here only because Mark Zuckerberg has decided that Facebook operates on its own rules, and they don't have to, because if they don't like what you say, they will block you and you can't say it. But my thing has always been, yes, in radio, if I made a comment that leftist socialist Democrats belong on Mars and whatever, and a leftist Democrat socialist went to the chancellor of the district and said, I want equal time, I got called into his office and I got yelled at because I was the director of news and public affairs for the college radio station. So it was my job to bring that person in. But then he would turn around and shake my hand and go, hey, by the way, as executive vice president of a Republican student body, predominantly a Republican student body, I like what you did. But, No, my point is that, yeah, if you got something that you disagree with me, and even if you don't disagree with me, if you support a Democrat candidate somewhere, by all means, get that person to come on. If we can, we'll find the Republican candidate and see if we can get them to come on together. And if there is no Republican candidate, we'll get someone equally close to fill in and do that. And I also have to step back and say, hey, in races where there is only a Democrat and or in races where there's only a Republican, what I find out is generally based on the performance of that person. The opposite party voters will in fact vote for that person, because the reality, not that it could ever happen, but the reality is that well, you have to have someone in that seat. And generally, if a Republican, I'm going to get tongue-tied on my words, and maybe this will get someone here, but it's better to have someone in that seat that you can work with than it would be to not have anyone in that seat at all. But in this particular case with the 2022 election, I don't know how YouTube and our Google partners will take this. Our side, the red side, thinks that it's time to relieve some of the blue side. And I'm sure within the red side, there are a lot of people that I don't want to say should step over to the blue side, because that's really what they are. But in this point, I think the way to say it is there are a lot of people in Congress. Some are red, some are blue, and they shouldn't be there anymore equally. I can say that Mitt Romney should either not be there or he should be on the blue side, because that's really what he is. But by the same token, Maxine Waters shouldn't be there, because she's been there long enough to be Mitt Romney's grandmother in the House of Representatives.
Yeah, but Maxine Waters shouldn't be there anyway, because she's a very violent person.
I understand that she was up on some charges, and they could actually have resulted in her being moved. And I never really followed up on it. And
the day before was up with Ray. I doubt you're ever going to see a Democrat of power being arrested for anything. You might see them.
You won't see it right now.
You might see them resign and they fade away into oblivion. But I don't think you're ever going to see a Democrat going to.
You won't see it right now. You won't see them be charged. You won't see them be called to the House and have to testify, because the Democrats aren't going to make a Democrat go before them and be judged. Because, in my case, like I said, Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, stood up and tore up the State of the Union address that the president gave her. It doesn't belong to her. It belongs to the House, and it goes into the Speaker's archives.
And in a sense, that was a crime she committed.
Right. So, I don't know what level of a crime it is, but it's a crime.
Well, destruction of government property.
At the least, she should have bared the responsibility of contacting President Trump and saying, I need another copy of that speech signed by you. I need an original signed by you, because it has to go into the archives of the Speaker of the House. And, I apologize for doing it, because it really wasn't the right thing to do. Or if Donald Trump had gone up to her afterwards and called her into the Oval Office and said, you stood up and it looked like you took the papers out of the nice binder that it was in, and you tore it up on national TV because you don't like me. And if she said, here, Mr. President, I just had a stack of white paper that wasn't the actual speech, he probably would have looked at her and said, well, America thinks that it was. And what you need to do, Nancy, is you need to go before the people and say, hey, I just tore up a bunch of papers because I wanted the dramatic effect of everybody thinking that I didn't like him. But, it's a whole ball of wax that until she is no longer Speaker and someone within the House of Representatives can subpoena her in and make her testify on a whole lot of things, we're never gonna see anything. And the worst thing that could happen is Joe Biden resigns. Kamala Harris has to step up, and or Joe Biden resigns. The Senate doesn't approve Harris taking over. That makes Pelosi the acting president, because I don't think she'll ever become president. She'll just be acting until they fill one. But though she may stay in that position until the 2024 election and the Democrats decide who they're going to run. And at this point, I personally don't think whoever they run is going to beat whoever we run. I'm not at this point, I'm not saying that Donald Trump is going to be our candidate. He should be, because he was in the middle of doing whatever he was doing to make America great again, and he was making America great again, and he needed that second term to be able to do that. And at this point, because we're on YouTube today, I will say, yes, he lost that second term. If he lost that second term, that's the big problem, because YouTube, Google, whatever other non-red organization is watching this today. I personally have said that a president doesn't understand what they're doing as president until 2 years into their term. Then they get 2 years to kind of play around with the job. In the fourth year, they're kind of figuring out where the presidential library is going to go. If they don't get elected, they're writing some books if they haven't written books already. And, they're kind of preparing for where they're going to go. So you need that second term to come in and start being the president. At the same time, hopefully you're going to endorse your vice president, give your vice president some more authority to do under you, of course. And then, at the end of 8 years, it's time for you to go to the ranch like Bush and or Reagan did, or, live long and prosper someplace else. Term limits is another idea we could move to, Randy. I've been kicking around lately that you get 12 years in the House, 12 years in the Senate, and then you get, I haven't figured it out, because if you get 12 years in the House and you get 12 years in the Senate, no, excuse me, it was 12 years in the House or 12 years in the Senate or a mishmash of whatever, but you get 12 years in Congress. Then you get 8 years as vice president, that's 20 years. And then you get 4 years as president, that's, 8 years as president, that's 32. At the end of the 32 years, if I did my math right, you're done. You retire from government and you're gone. And it's like the same thing. You get 12 years in Congress. You can divide it up 2-year terms in the House with 6-year term in the Senate, or however you want to do it. Jerry Michaels, who I respect a lot, the host of American Rebellion, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, 7 p.m., has said that maybe the Senate terms should be kicked to 2-year terms as well. That way, everybody comes up for re-election at the same time, and it might encourage more people to get in. It probably takes the same thing. It probably takes 4 years in the House before you're ready to rock and roll and do anything, only because your first 2-year term is like boot camp. And then once you're in there and you're playing the game, then you need probably 2 years to play the game more and decide whether or not you're going to stay there. And this is, of course, playing the game once we actually clean the swamp and nobody's getting money in their pockets and being owned by anybody. I personally think no member of Congress, whether they're in the House or they're in the Senate, is most likely to ask for any kind of social media reforms against Facebook because they're already in Facebook's pocket.
Well, I agree, and Mark Zuckerberg, he spent all that money during the 2020 election to help the Democrats win. Plus, he also helped to block any kind of conservative, Republican, patriotic, true messaging on Facebook to essentially keep us from talking to each other and keep us from putting on Facebook actual facts and figures of what the Republicans can do for the Democrats, so Democrats can see a different viewpoint. I mean, it's like I've seen, on the news, the Democrats tend to go for the African American or Black America and the low income people constantly. And you'll hear them say that, well, I'm a lifetime Democrat. My mom and dad are lifetime Democrat. That's all we ever knew. We were told we had to vote Democrat. And that's what the Democrats want. They want a continuous generation to vote for them because they're supposed to. They're not supposed to have their own mind to think for themselves as to, wait a minute, why am I voting for a guy who just removed all these police officers and now there's shootings on my street every night, or why am I voting for this guy who just raised the price of gas? I just saw one on the neighborhood app that I'm a member of. A guy just had his oil tank filled up for the first time for the season, winter, and his oil bill was $1,100. I mean, people can't afford in the United States to heat their homes, let alone the Ukrainians or the Europeans heating their homes with Russian oil. I mean, we're always hearing about how they got it so bad. We are, for our own selves, we also have problems heating our homes and putting food on the table and so forth. But you have to have, a conversation, a dialogue between different opposing views. It's not like going to church and have to listen to your minister and he's preaching, what he wants you to hear. I mean, after the fact, you can say, hey, Pastor, you mentioned this and this and this, and I disagree with that. Can we talk about this? And he'll say, sure, let's talk about it. He's still going to have his way, or you have the choice of leaving his church. But when it comes to politics, you should have the ability to have a dialogue, an intelligent dialogue, a calm dialogue where you can talk to each other and have opposing views.
Right.
Somehow in my household, I managed to have two children, both who are Democrat leaning. I don't know how that happened, but it did. So they know that when they come to my house, we'll talk politics if that's what comes up. But if one side starts shouting and screaming and ranting and raving, that's when the dialogue stops and we talk about something different. I have 3 grandkids, and of course they're going to be influenced by, their mom and dad, who are both, voting Democrat. And the oldest one is 15, I believe it is, and 15 and 12 and 7, something like that. My mom, my wife has all that in her head. But they'll ask, Grandpa, why do you, like Donald Trump? Why do you do this? And I'll ask myself, what does your guy do for you? I'll make them think about what the Democrats do, right? And then when they say, I don't know, I don't, honestly, they don't have an answer because they're only told what, the parents want them to hear. And I'll explain to them both sides. This is what President Donald Trump did. This is what Joe Biden is doing. This is what the conservatives do. This is what the liberals do. And I'll paint and I'll show him, the difference between the two. And I'll say, which one makes more sense to you? And they'll say, oh, Donald Trump does. Don't tell my dad said that. you know. So, and that's where you have to have a conversation.
Well, they're children, and then they might not want to vote for Joe Biden for that particular reason. But.
And so, but politics being politics, politics, religion, they're always the two volatile conversations to have. Whether you're, inside your family or, out in public. I mean, it got to a point where just wearing a red hat, would light people up on the left.
Yep.
It might not even say anything about Trump, but it's a red hat. And that's the first thing they see is a red hat. Oh, you're a Trump supporter. It's like, oh my God, no, this is a red hat. It's a baseball cap, But, what I'm saying, or it's just like, you see these TikTok, videos where this woman's sitting in her car and she's crying because she saw a truck go by with American flag flying on it.
Mm-hmm.
My God, really? That flag, lady, allows you to do what you're doing right now. So don't feel bad about it.
I've actually been snapping on Facebook people who lose or get spanked enough that they won't post a video on Facebook anymore, but they'll go over to TikTok and join TikTok and make a TikTok video and then send it back over to Facebook. I mean, that's got to take some cast iron male jewelry.
Yeah.
That's all I can say because we're on YouTube right now. But it impresses me when people will do that, only because I'm the kind of person where I'll just keep posting it on Facebook until I can't post it on Facebook anymore. I'll post it on YouTube until I either have to change my language to make sure that they don't remove it anymore. And we'll attempt to keep posting things on Street Lock because they don't remove things. But, the Boogie with the blowout days are gone. Randy Rhoads has gotten one. Jonathan Garcia has gotten two, I think. Bill Muckler, our favorite retired Marine captain, has gotten the worst one than anybody. And I have tried to apologize profusely. And that didn't happen. But still read Bill's 2020 books. Let me see if I can get them off the shelf without.
Oh no!
Yeah, everything fell. That you can't turn around and try to get everything off the shelf. These are the 2020 books that Bill wrote. 2020, A Clear Vision for Our Future, and 2020, A Clear Vision for America. Go to 2020americabook.com, 2020americabook.com, and you can order the books. And I will just tell you this, that when Bill wrote the books, I believe it was 2015, everything that is in there, his ideas were 100% spot on then, and still 100% spot on now, 7 years later, and even more in some cases. I reached out to Bill recently to see if we could get him back on the broadcast, because Bill is such a gentleman in the way that he speaks that I could learn a lot from Bill. I could learn to use language and tone to get my point across to the other side or the hosts of wherever we are being live without making the host say, hey, the hosts of the lives saying, hey, we really got to spank that boy and take a broadcast down. I did reach out to Bill, and maybe he will get us on. Bill is the one who enlightened us to Red Friday, because I was talking about Red Wave Friday, and then crossed Red Friday into it. Red Friday is Remember Everyone Deployed Friday. The men and women of the United States military, who I have said I think is the best military in the world. Other broadcasters have kind of hinted around why people are saying that, and my answer to them is, well, we have to be the best military in the world if all of these other countries are reaching out to us and asking us to come and either pay for their war of independence or pay for their war of whatever, even if we lose it. Because as Ray said on Wednesday, we've not won a war in quite a while. And they cost us a lot of money, which no one is ever going to pay us back, which is true because President Trump, a lot of what his was doing was going to these other countries and saying, hey, you owe us this money, you owe us that money. And if you're not going to pay us that money, then we're going to make sure you get treated at the big tables for not doing that. These were kicked out of NATO because we were funding NATO and we were paying our share and paying everybody else's share too. And if we're going to do that, then what the hell do we need NATO for? China and the tariffs that, we're paying 5 times what something should cost here because of a tariff that China isn't paying. And, whether or not China is responsible for the Dr. Fauci flu getting out to everybody in the world has yet to be determined, because I see two. Hang
on a second. While you're talking about that, did you hear that there's a freaking university here in the United States that has taken the COVID bacteria and from the 2020, from the when it first hit, okay, taking that bacteria and they're mixing it with the COVID bacteria of the 2020 timeframe, making one horrendous COVID bacteria that is supposed to kill 80% of anybody who gets it.
What people don't understand or don't want to understand is the thing was a biological weapon, the way I see it. And YouTube, you can spank me. Google, you can spank me. Facebook, you can spank me. There is no way in my mind that you can make me think that China wasn't developing a biological weapon. And they had to have either a way of controlling it, because they pulled a Syrian president asshat and somehow it landed on their own people. And they waited and waited and waited and probably treated their own people because they were ready. And then when it got around the world, oh yeah, well, something happened. The door got left open and bad stuff got out and somebody took it to South America. And now Curious George spread it to the rest of the world.
Oh, don't blame Curious George. I read his books.
I was on a post the other day where they were talking about that we can't say monkey anymore. And my comments were, we can't say monkey anymore, but if you go into any child's library at any schoolhouse in the United States of America, except for the Amish, I'm sure, there are all of the Curious George books where a man adopted a monkey and raised that monkey for life, and that monkey worshiped that man like a father. And I'm sure in his later years, George cared for the father until the father passed away. And by then, George was probably married and had children. And they were all there when his father passed away. And they, lived well and prosper and continued. And it's just appalling to me that, words that we used for hundreds of years are now being told we can't use them. Books that we read for hundreds of years, or now what's going to happen most likely is the Curious George brand will probably have to be rewritten to show that
it won't be rewritten. They'll just like everything else that the left has done, they'll probably make it so you can't buy the books anymore, and that guy's going to be out of a job. Look at poor Aunt Jemima. My God, she was the marketing face of the product back in the day, and all of a sudden, because it depicts a black woman marketing a product, and for whatever reason they hate that image. The company
hundreds and hundreds of years. And it's the same with baseball teams. I'm sorry I cut you off. The Cleveland Indians, the Washington Redskins. I honestly got to say, if I owned the Washington Redskins and people came into me and said, you've got to change the name of your team because it upsets the Redskins, I would have called in all of the chiefs to sit down in my office and go, have we ever disrespected the name Redskin? Ever? No. Then why are you upset now? Because everybody tells us we have to be upset. Well, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to unify all the casino owners in the United States of America that are not indigenous people, and we're going to go after you for destroying the word casino because we don't make any money now that you got into it. But the whole thing is kind of just pointless. That are the Atlanta Braves still the Atlanta Braves?
I don't do sports, so I don't really couldn't tell you.
I don't know there, and no one seems to be upset with them. And I think they were the New York Braves and the Boston Braves, and then they moved on and became the Atlanta Braves. But no one seems to be bothered with them.
And to be honest with you, I don't think the Native Americans were upset about some of the names. It was the white people who were upset about the names.
Oh, wow.
Oops, did I say white people? It was the other side, the other colors of the skin.
Right.
They're the ones who were upset about
the non-indigenous people. They changed it that the story about Columbus coming to America because he wasn't nice to the indigenous people. But when the story is told about BLM and Antifa and all the things they did in New York and they did in Chicago and all the things they continue to do in Chicago and they did in Portland and other cities around the U.S., the story is going to be told via critical race theory to make it look like BLM did everything Antifa told them to do, but to benefit those people. And I just don't understand, because it's like we were saying earlier in the broadcast, if anybody has a problem with anybody, why can't we just do what we always did? Sit down and try to work it out. And in some areas we will, and in some areas we won't. Mayor Lightfoot in Chicago every Monday seems to come on at her morning press conference, and the number of people that were shot and killed in Chicago is significantly higher than the week before. And I wish, this is another one of those, I wish I could get this person on a Boogie with the Bull broadcast. I wish I could get Mayor Lightfoot on a Boogie with the Bull broadcast. No bashing Democrats and her bashing Republicans. I just have one question at this point. If you didn't defund your police department in Chicago to the point where they couldn't do their job, and then you start reporting what's happening in Chicago because they can't do their job, would it have been different? If you maintained the proper funding for a police department in Chicago, would the situation be as bad as it is? And if she says yes, then my question would have been, then why didn't you raise the fund? And now with Tyson Chicken has pulled out and gone to Arizona, I believe, which tells me that they're a red company. If I was the big man at Tyson and we had been in Chicago for 1,000,000 years, the first thing I would have said was, "Hey, we're not making money with that plant in Chicago. So it's either we improve whatever and we make money, or we just have to close that plant and leave." But and now other businesses are going to do it, because when a big company like Tyson says they're leaving, then a small company like Boogie with the Bull, if we had an office in Chicago, we'd grow balls all of a sudden to say we could leave. But if Boogie with the Bull had an office in Chicago, we wouldn't, because we'd want to stay there and be showing what's going on and what we think the problem is. What else, Mr. Rhodes?
Well, it's like you're saying, you have to look across the country and see, where, large, manufacturing companies are doing well and where they're not, are not even like mid-level businesses. I mean, you have, like I've said before, you have Democrat-controlled cities like New York, Chicago, and California, and they're leaving their state because they can't afford to continuously, daily or weekly being robbed of up to the $1,000 magical number, and not being able to have a recourse. Sure, they might have insurance, but at some point in time, the insurance company will say, "Hey, whoa, you've been hit 10 times this month. We can't afford to keep you as a client. We're canceling your insurance policy." Not to mention the fact that it's destruction of the store and so forth. So they're they're closing up shop and they're leaving, but they're just hurting themselves because the small and mid-level stores are supplying the need of the local neighborhoods. And if the Black Lives Matter and Antifa are just gangs of thieves by themselves are doing this, you're hurting that you're hurting that neighborhood. And then you see where the cops respond, and they just kind of sit back and let it happen, because to arrest them makes no sense, because the judicial system is such that they're going to slap on the hand and they're going to get released. Or like, I didn't know it, but Kamala Harris, back in the day when Black Lives Matter and Antifa were burning down cities, she was raising money to pay the bail money to get these people out of jail. I mean, that should tell you right there what the Democrats feel about the innocent American citizen. They don't care about you. They care about the criminals. And again, I mentioned it before. We're going back to the time when Scarface, Al Capone, and all his other people like that were in power and doing their thing. The criminals going to be in charge of your city. And yesterday I mentioned about how, Lancaster City used to be a fairly safe city because it's a small cities, like maybe 1 or 2 million people, counties included. So it's not really big like a Chicago or New York, but for the most part, we lived in a safe city. But, yes, you're muted. You're muted. There you go. You're muted.
That's why you didn't hear me. I muted because the dogs were barking. I actually want to apologize to Gen Xer Kim, who at, about 20, 30 minutes ago was actually making comments in the live chat. I had the screen set wrong. She said, we also need to ban George Soros. Let me kick down. We'll go one further. I have a Christian flag, the American flag, and a Gadsden flag hanging on the porch. They made it worse. It's all about depopulation. It is 100%. And she did answer my question. The Braves are still the Braves. Milwaukee had the Braves before they went to Atlanta. I also thought that they were in Boston at one point. I said New York. I don't know if they were in New York, but I know that they were the Boston Braves, I think, first. And then they went to, they might have gone to Milwaukee, or it's the other way around. But I know that they were in Boston at some point. But this is very true, too. And Jet Xer Kim, thank you for being a part of the Boogie with the Bull YouTube live chat. You've proven that it works. So anybody watching on Facebook and Streetlock, if you want to be a part of the live chat, follow the link. It'll bring you over to StreamYard. It will ask permission to use your microphone and your camera, and it'll bring you on camera. But if you come over and join us on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, you can be part of the live chat. Otherwise, you're watching on Facebook and you're watching on Streetlock. And anyone is welcome to be in the live chat. We will have that fixed. Like I said, next week it will be fixed, and you can watch on Facebook. You can watch on Streetlock. You can watch on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel and be part of the live chat. At least come to the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel and subscribe to it, because that way they'll see 1 billion members watching and sharing, and they'll be so happy that they might allow us to be a censored-free broadcast. But I digress. Let's see. It's been an hour into the broadcast. We're still going. Randy said he could go 2, so we'll go 2 today. So come into the Boogie with the Bull YouTube live chat and not challenge Mr. Rhodes, but at least help the conversation.
I think it can challenge me. I mean, I'm always up for a good challenge. I learn new things too, but at this point, if you're talking, R versus D, there's not much that the D has done to benefit our nation. And so please, someone prove me wrong. I could go on forever about all the things that the people with the letter D behind their name has done to destroy our nation, to make us the laughing stock of the world right now. So if someone has a positive of what they might have done, please let me know, because I have not seen it. And trust me, I look at various news sources, as well as social medias and so forth. And I have to say, to a certain degree, my daughter, who's a Democrat, is also starting to agree that Joe Biden has dementia and he shouldn't be in power. But then she thinks Kamala is be a good replacement for him, which I don't think so. But that being said, yeah, I mean, it's the same with England. I mean, look at England. I mean, I'm hoping to see some good things coming out of that king, but right now, England is just about as bad in Canada. What all of a sudden, all the nations who fought the major wars for freedom and independence of their citizens and citizens of other nations, like Dave said earlier, you have all these other countries who look to the United States for our military, our men and women, to defend them against superpower Russia and China, because by themselves they just can't get the job done. But back in the day when we were fighting wars for freedom, for independence of people who were being oppressed, that's what we were for. But now you have leaders in these what's called free world nations who embrace socialism. To a degree, some form of communism. Australia, they made all the citizens give up their guns. They locked them down. I mean, they couldn't even leave their damn homes unless they would prove they had been vaccinated. You got Canada, who's taking away the guns, even the handguns. They shut down the truckers who were trying to, get their voices heard. And now here in the United States, we're turning into the nations that we went to war against. It makes no common sense to me. So, what?
Here in Mexico and the U.S. and Canada supposedly are going to form some one thing, and what does that mean? Is the cartels are going to take over the United States of America and Canada?
I don't know about that. I think before that happens, I believe that I would hope to believe that the South rises again and goes to war and keeps that from happening. I mean, I've mentioned before that I've been doing my ancestry tree, working more to spend more time on my own, as well as those people who reach out to me. And I'm finding more and more of my ancestors who fought for the South. And they fought for a cause. They didn't fight for slavery. The men and women, on our level, they fought, to keep Lincoln and his troops out of these states, and they wanted to form a new country. And to be honest with you, there are people today talking about splitting our country. Okay, if the Democrats want to live this way, let them. Give us all the states that want to live the way we want to, and we'll create two countries again. I see nothing wrong with that. What you wind up is you wind up with a Democrats state of California over here, all red. Then you get to the east side, you'll have maybe New York being blue, maybe a couple other states being blue. And of course, you have Chicago, they're being blue. But for the most part, you're going to see the majority of the states wanting to be Republican. I see nothing wrong with splitting our country. I really don't. It's a shame when, I've always believed that the majority ruled. So if you take a vote, you have a room full of people, and they say, okay, well, where are we going to eat supper tonight? Are we going to go to a restaurant, or are you going to have food delivered? Okay, hands up for going out to a restaurant. The majority wins, right? But here you have a nation that is so damn afraid to speak up their minds that 3% of our nation is telling the 97% how they're going to live their lives, and we better damn well accept it. And if we say anything wrong about it, we're going to get thrown into jail or real jail or Facebook jail or Twitter jail because we said something wrong about the 3%.
Hopefully there won't be Twitter jail anymore.
Yeah. I do know that I follow Cat Turd on Twitter, and he just announced that overnight he had 7,000 people more than the night before. So he's already starting to see, as well as other people are starting to see a change in their Twitter accounts for the good. So
I think what will happen is that we may end up on Twitter. May end up on Twitter live and then on Facebook as a podcast, I think, just to try to get people where we can do it. Hey, Kim, you're welcome to kick any more comments in as we go along. And anyone else is welcome to join us in the Boogie with the Bull YouTube live chat. Come over to the Boogie with the Bull channel, subscribe, and you will see the live chat link. Click that. You can take the link and share it anywhere you want on social media. Put it on Facebook wherever you think it should be. Put it on StreetLock wherever you think it should be. Take it off of YouTube and put it everywhere you think it should be, and invite your friends. It's Friday. We started at 7:30 a.m. this morning Eastern time. Monday we will probably do the same thing.
Someone got hurt.
Probably overreacting because we're now doing it at 7:30, and we try to keep the voice down. No boogie with the blowouts because not everybody in the house is awake yet. We were doing it at 10 o'clock, and by then everybody in the house was awake. And I like doing it at 7:30. At 7:30 or 8 o'clock, depending on what time my wife has to leave. If she is subbing, and if she's not leaving, then what time I can take over the bedroom for a couple of hours. We are working on some kind of an evening program. I'm not sure when. I wanted to do it at 8 p.m. Wednesdays because that seems to be the best time. But someone else recently took that slot on Facebook. So we may do it Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Through YouTube and Streetlock, and put it on Facebook as a podcast. I don't like to start doing a broadcast when someone else is doing a broadcast at the same time. I mean, we're all big boys and girls, and you can watch more than one on Facebook at the same time. But I kind of like to, if someone else already has that time, I'll find another time, or people can tell me another time. And then the big thing is some people don't want to be on YouTube. Some people don't want to be on Facebook. Not enough people know about Streetlock yet. So again, you can always message me and tell me where you think we should be, and we will take a look at that. We can be all over Telegram in different Telegram group chats. On Messenger, we're in the Ministry of the Truth group chat. Kim says, not me in the morning, LOL. Well, Kim, what's the best time? 9 o'clock is good. 10 o'clock is good. I mean, what I noticed in the 10 o'clock time, especially on Facebook, was we really weren't getting any live chat involvement. And I know 8 o'clock in the evening is a good time usually to get a live chat going over on Facebook. And so that would leave at this point maybe Tuesdays or Thursdays that we could do something, but that's still in development. Randy Rhodes' contract has been approved. He does not get the handicap parking space here at Boogie with the Bull headquarters. He's on his own for, actually, we're paying him double what we paid him last year.
And that was a lot, let me tell you.
Double what we're paying him last year. So he's on his own for his own makeup and dressing room people. But we do what we can do. Not asking for money from anybody. We're not going to have one of those fancy tabs across the bottom of the screen that you can donate money to PayPal or donate money through this one or that one. Trying to keep it free from having to do that for a long time. You never know. We may throw a coffee cup on there and go, if you like it, buy it, or a t-shirt. If you like it, buy it. Over downstairs on the Boogie with the Bull page on Facebook, the Boogie with the Bull page. That's a mishmash of everything that I think on Facebook you want to see. So go down and like the page. There are 1,500 likes and close to 1,600 follows. I don't know if likes and follows are the same thing, and I don't know if they are separate. If they're separate, that means there's a lot of people reading the Boogie with the Bull page every day. If you have something that you want on there, even if it is not a conservative patriot broadcast or a conservative patriot group, let me know, and I will start putting it on the page. Then you can become an editor of the page, and you can continue posting your opinions and or broadcasts and or videos anytime you wish. If you are a merchant, you sell stuff through Facebook, please stop. Well, actually, no, don't stop. Put it on my page for me to preview and decide whether or not I want it. I will do that. Then I will drop it downstairs in the Boogie with the Bull page, as I said. And if you're getting any reaction or you just want to be able to do it yourself, then you become an editor and you represent yourself. No, we don't want any money. We just want to help you make money because that's what That's what we're all about. American business works our economy works when American business works, because American business is the backbone of our economy. One more time, the right way. Our economy works when American business works, because American business is the backbone of our economy. Yes, Facebook, I do own that. I copyrighted it. I trademarked it. It's mine.
There you go.
But that's when we plug American-owned businesses, because it's the mom and pop shops up to the big corporate tycoons that are hopefully paying taxes and helping this country do what it's supposed to do, rather than just kind of sit there and God love you, all the ice cream companies that make ice cream that Joe Biden eats.
And Pelosi. Don't forget Pelosi's freezer full of frozen ice cream.
Pelosi's freezer full of ice cream, her bar full of Russian vodka, and anything else that she drinks. I hear that AOC is up in a tough race right now to remain in the House, but I understand that in the event that she is defeated by a red member of the House, that AOC will be promoted to the chief bartender of the House. Okay.
Yeah, she'll probably make more money being the bartender of the bar in Congress. I mean, you listen to some of those Democrats talk, and I mean, they sound like they're 10 sheets to the wind.
Yeah.
But the Democrats, they hate the small businessmen and women because they're normally a Republican conservative business owner. So that's why when the COVID thing hit and the nation got shut down, they got hit the hardest because they were, I mean, they're not big guys. They don't have not to be ice cream. So no cake with that. But the small businessmen and women don't have that big bank account where they can, live off that for a while, or, pay their employees for a while because they have that money, stashed away somewhere, or they don't have the ability to go to a bank and say, hey, last year I made $1 million. Can I borrow half of that now to keep my employees, roofs over their heads? They didn't have that ability. So then they came out with the PPV money, PPV money, like they did for the American citizens. They got $2,500, for a family. So they came out with money for the businesses. It was meant to be for small business. Now I was working part time from home for those phone calls because I was trained to answer the phone and talk to the people, do their application, so they got their money. Okay, and it turned out that the majority of that money wasn't going to small guys; it was going to the bigger companies.
Yeah.
And I was on the phone, and these people were crying. I mean, actually, real crying to me because they're going to lose their farm, or they're going, their employees are going to lose their home because they can't pay their rent. And where's the money? I was approved this money, but I haven't gotten it yet. And it turns out that, at some point the money ran out, right? But they didn't tell the country that. And they kept doing their applications and waiting 2, 3, 4 months, expecting a drop of money in their bank account.
Yep.
But then we find out after the fact that most of that money went to the big guys who really didn't need it. The small people did, but the bigger companies vote Democrat.
It's terrible. All we can tell you is you have to decide who you vote for on Tuesday, November 8th, and you have to do what you think is right for you. And if you want to vote blue, then maybe it means that you're happy where you are right now, and you're happy in the direction that things are.
Clap your hands.
People tell me that blue, red doesn't matter right now. People tell me that if the Democrats keep the House, it's very likely that your $3.09 gallon of gas on November 8th is going to be $9.03 on November 9th. And I can't guarantee that. And I can't guarantee that the Republicans might not do the same thing. But if the Republicans do the same thing, it's going to be because we need to refill the strategic oil reserves because they were either depleted so that we didn't have it and we would be dependent on someone else, or they were sold. And there is an agency, like I said, with Ray and Randy, there is an agency within the federal bureaucracy which does in fact allow the president to sell off from the strategic oil reserves at a reduced price. And that is in fact what he did. There's rumors, I haven't been able to prove any of it, but there's rumors that all of that oil, the millions of barrels given to China, were not actually paid for. They were just given to them. Because if you read the documentation about that agency, it says he can sell it, and he can sell it at a reduced price. So my big thing is that the president took our strategic oil, sold it to China at a reduced price, and China can do whatever the hell they want with it. And what they did was they sold it at a reduced price below market value so that they could buy livestock feed for farms they own in the United States of America. And my belief is, hey, China, if you own farms in the United States of America and you can't afford to buy livestock feed, maybe you need to sell those farms back or give those farms back and just get the hello out. Randy and I talked about the 3D printer company in Israel, I believe, that is now 3D printing steak, hamburger. Where are we, America? Bill Gates has always wanted to become the largest producer of pink slime.
Yeah.
And, if you knew what was in there, you wouldn't eat it. Just like if you knew what was in the vaccine, you might choose not to get it. And that's kosher for me to say. So YouTube, you guys sitting there waiting to whack me, and the Dave Woven Facebook Smart Bot algorithm team, back off for a second there. People have a choice. You don't have the right to tell them they need to be vaccinated. Well, you have the right to tell them they need to be vaccinated, but you have a responsibility. If they post pound sand Facebook, you can't take action against them. Just like I joke with people that if you want to wear a mask in the United States of America, I suggest one of two. This one, which some Democrats like so much they want to pay me $500 to buy it from me, but the only way they will do that is if I wear it while it's being burnt. Or we have this one, which I don't care what the Democrats say because it's a 2020 mask. It is not for sale. That's my favorite mask right now. I have to find something of Trump from the 2016 election, and he needs to put out the 2024 mask so that I can take the 2020 mask, the 2024 mask, and something from 2016, and put them in a frame. And that does not necessarily mean that I am saying that Donald Trump needs to return as president. We can argue that one. I don't really know where I think we are. And my only fear is that if Donald Trump was to return to president and we don't take back the House and the Senate, then it's going to be 4 more years of Trump investigations, which means to me that the House and the Senate are not doing the people's business. I'm not saying, that he's not entitled to anything because of that election. I'm just saying that we can't bring him back and go back 4 years and spend 4 years arguing over what may or may not have happened in 2020. We need to pick up where he left off in 2019 and move forward. Gas prices can still go down a bit. Yes, we're going into, like Randy just said a few minutes ago, the high cost of home heating oil. Wrong. And whether or not you want it for yourself and anybody else you can share it with, if you want solar and you want it on your property and you want it for your property and you can power the house next door to you or all the houses in your neighborhood, that's up to you. But if you want it, you should be able to get it. People are telling me don't get solar, get wind power, but not everybody has the space on their land to put up.
You're killing the birds.
Well, then I always trash talk wind power only because back when I lived in California in the 80s, Pacific Gas and Electric, the largest electric company on the West Coast at the time, decided they were going to do that. They secured the mountain space to put up the wind farm. They put up those towers, and for the longest period of time, nothing until a architect of theirs said, "You know what? The biggest problem is those blades are pointing in the wrong direction. So if we go up and we turn them around into the direction that the wind actually blows, we might have a different result." So I believe that is what they did, and it was producing. I don't know if it's still there. It's up somewhere on Highway 280 that if you leave Los Altos Hills and you start going towards San Francisco, it's somewhere up on the left-hand side as you're going north. I don't remember, and like I said, I don't even know if it's still there. But they were the same electric company that back then said that they wanted to take one lane of Interstate 101 and put a grid in it in one lane to power electric cars. And at that point, electric cars weren't even out yet. So I don't know what they were gonna charge, but, or maybe it just would have kept your battery charged at all times. But or maybe
look at the farmers back in the day. They had the windmills, which was used to primarily be used to pump the water out of the wells. But at some point, they started using the windmill power to actually create electricity for their farms.
Yeah. So it's not stupid ideas. It's just when stupid people, and I'm not necessarily calling them stupid, but they were, when stupid people backfire something that can work right, why? I fully expect that now Elon Musk has all of the Starlink satellites in place up in space to do whatever he wants with Starlink, that he will move Twitter at some point from the whatever network it's on now to Starlink, and it will become the premier internet service around the world. And he'll do it and he'll give it for free. There may be ads on it, yeah. Because, he's got to make money. He spent $44 billion. He's got to make that money back. I don't believe he actually took $44 billion out of all of his billions.
It's what the news is saying.
Right. But when you look at it, I believe what he did was he secured the $44 billion in financing and backed it out of 44 of his own $1 billion. And I could be wrong. Maybe he did take 44, but it would have made more sense to me that if he needed $44 billion and he only had to put up $44 million of his own money, that he puts up 44 of his own million to at least buy it buy it along with a bunch of other people, and they invest in it rather than taking 44 of his own billion, because that's the big problem with Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg was claimed to have made, I think, something like 78 billion, or be worth something like $78 billion. And the I think it's 10, 12 billion that he's invested in the metaverse so far has not brought him anywhere near the return that he expected. And I believe he did, in fact, put that up out of his own money. And now his 78 billion is down to something like 54 billion. Not that it's hard to make, $10 billion back at any time. But, I always figured that a wealthy person like Elon Musk, who has all of the money in the world, or controls all of the money in the world, you want to put up as little of your own money as possible. And then with a business like Twitter, which should be fully capable of paying itself off, or at least attracting other people to either invest in it or partner with you, that you do it that way, because it could hurt when someone who's worth almost $300 billion all of a sudden one day loses $44 billion.
Yeah, but I wonder how quickly he's going to start making some money back with the advertising that's going beyond Twitter. Plus, he fired the two top people, so that's going to save him a few $1 million.
But you know what? Yeah, I can justify his firing anybody at Twitter for the same reason that Mark Zuckerberg is walking around Facebook looking at people going, you know what? I don't think you fit in with the Facebook mission, so you might want to think about looking for another job. And I've heard he's been very, very pleasant with people about it, and has said, you should start looking for another job, because we don't want to fire you, because it looks bad when anybody fires anybody, but you should start looking for another job.
Well, he doesn't want to pay them unemployment. That's why he's asking them to volunteer.
You know what? But you know what? Unemployment in some senses is a rigged system, because all of your employers you've ever had pay into your unemployment in the state that you're in. So when you and like you just said, when you get fired, if it's a firing that gets you unemployment, your last employer, of course, doesn't want to pay you unemployment currently, because you're not working for them anymore. So why should you get paid? Why, I understand, why should you get paid anything?
Well, I'll give you a personal side of that. Back before the pandemic, I was working from home, okay, and doing making phone calls, and they knew I had some health issues ahead of time, and they were very, very, very accommodating. And then I had to have a knee replacement surgery. Well, then the pandemic, and I was in so much pain that they have to go on short-term disability to work that out, okay? And then I had to get a knee replaced. Well, I told them I needed more time because I needed to get a knee replaced. They said, fine, that's fine. So I was communicating with them. But then the pandemic hit, and the hospital got shut down, okay? So now the employer wanted to know, when am I getting the surgery done, and when am I coming back to work? And I did all the paperwork. I sent a letter to the doctors and to the surgeon, say, hey, my companies know this, and this. I need to complete the paperwork. So long story made short, they fired me, okay? And then someone in my family said, hey, Randy, why don't you apply for unemployment? I thought, well, okay, I'll do it, right? So I did the unemployment thing, and nothing happened for months. So I thought, well, I didn't get approved. So then one day I took notice in my bank account, almost $3,000 deposit. So I called up the bank and said, hey, I got $3,000 I wasn't expecting. Can you tell me where it came from? And they said, sure, it came
from unemployment, and it was the retro.
So I said, great. So I started doing the unemployment weekly thing, which I did. Then all of a sudden, I get this thing in the mail saying I got to pay all this money back because I was never truly approved for unemployment.
Wow.
So make the long story short, I fought it, and I won because I was communicating with the employer that, hey, it wasn't my fault. Pandemic hit. You know, we didn't know once we had the surgery done, and I did everything I was supposed to do. So, long story short, I won the case, and I don't have to worry about paying back the money.
Short story even longer is that Social Security is notorious for that. They will send you, you'll get your normal check, and within that month, they'll send you another check. And most people just take it, or it's direct deposited, and they just take it and they spend it. Then Social Security will contact you and say, we overpaid you that second check. You need to pay it back. Also, because unemployment is taxable income, that if you're on Social Security, which is not taxable income, and you don't report that you're on unemployment at the same time you're collecting Social Security, they will come back to you and say, you owe us some money because you didn't report that you were working. But anyway, everybody's out to get you however they're going to do it. And like I just flashed on the screen from Kim, I hope Elon Musk, just like DC, needs to clear house. He does. And I can understand that. And I hope that the people that want to continue working at Twitter are the people that want to embrace the direction that Twitter is going to go in. I do believe, and I haven't said it yet, but I do believe that actually I did say it on a post on Facebook yesterday, but if Elon moves Twitter from whatever Earth-based network that it's on now to Starlink and beams it around the world and continues to beam it around the world for free and beefs it up the way he wants to do it, it'll make Facebook look like Chicago or Portland when it's done, because I don't think Mark Zuckerberg will put anything into Facebook to much change it from where it is right now, because he is so heavily invested in the metaverse. I would hope that if the government came in and said you need to break up the monopoly that you have, Mark, that he says, well, I'll take Facebook, I'll take WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook Messenger and blow it out to a rival who wants to go do whatever they want to do with it. And if I had the money, I would say, well, I don't know enough about WhatsApp to know if I want it, so why don't you just sell me Facebook Messenger, and I don't know, there's got to be something in there that I want, but so I'll take WhatsApp because I don't know enough about it, and make me, let's agree on a price, and then you agree for the first 10 years that it can remain on the Facebook global network for free for the first 10 years, or that's when you call up Elon Musk and get down on your hands and knees and say, can we put it on Starlink too? If he's not blowing smoke up everybody's ass, and I highly doubt that he is, he looks like he is the humanitarian that he says he is. Everybody should have a place to live. And that's why he's bundled a Tesla Model S, I believe, with a Tesla box house. And you can take that Tesla box house, you pull it anywhere you want, put it on a pad, plug it in, pop it open, and live in it. And you can charge your electric vehicle, your Tesla, while you're there, because everybody needs to have a car. But there are also things that I still don't understand that I know Michael Anthony has tried to explain to me more than once. Elon Musk is of the belief that one day from the Starlink satellites, he will be able to beam electricity and whatever to everyone on Earth and do it for free. And if he can, more power to him.
How's he going to beam electricity from space?
I have no idea. But maybe it's beaming, maybe it's taking over the solar collector farms and doing it the right way, collecting enough and just giving electricity to everybody, giving electricity to every home in America because people deserve having a home, and a home runs on electricity. Michael was saying the other day when we did a broadcast that the only problem with solar is that those panels wear out and eventually they do have to be replaced, and it's very expensive, just like the solar batteries the electric batteries in a car wear out and they have to be replaced. I think Toyota took care of that when they kicked out the Prius, because their idea was it's going to have a retail cost of about $6,000 to replace the batteries in a Prius when they go. When it gets to that point, most likely the Prius owner is going to take it to a Toyota dealer and get a fair trade on buying a new one. And that may have been how it was in the beginning. So Toyota figured they would always have a steady supply of used Priuses coming in. The only problem is, as I've said, is one day Dave Wilburn bought a Prius. When it became, the family loved it. When it became time to drop the $6,000 to replace the batteries, they did. And I gave it to Donna. And then I gave it to Donna, and I went and bought a new one. And that trade kept going down the family. So you have generations in a family of proud Prius owners, because I bought the first one. I gave it to Donna. When I replaced the batteries in mine and gave it to Donna, we replaced the batteries and gave it to someone else in the family. And then I went out and bought a new one. Which I probably would never do because, as I said, nothing against Toyota and nothing against the Prius, other than I had a job that they moved me into a Prius, and I drove it for about an hour, and every time it switched from gas power to hybrid power, it sounded like the engine stalled, and I was constantly pulling it over, shutting it off, and starting it again because I thought it stalled. So finally, at the end of that hour, I called my boss on the phone and said, I'm bringing this one back, the Prius back. Somebody who wants to have it can have it, but I'm going back to my 1995 Ford Crown Vic as a company car, and I will drive that. But I can't handle having a car that it sounds like it stalled.
Well, even the new cars, I have people who drive me to my doctor visits and things like that, and they have the hybrids, and the engine's quiet, so you don't want to hear it running. But then if you idle long enough, like a traffic light, it acts like it shuts down. And I'm thinking
it just goes quiet. It does kind of shut down for a minute, but as soon as you step on your gas, it immediately comes back to life. We had a Jetta when one of the cars was in an accident. I forget which one. And we had a Jetta, and it did that. And then when we went up northeast, we rented a Honda HRV, and it did exactly the same thing. And it took me, maybe an hour of driving it to remember that it did that. But that Honda HRV got close to just over 50 miles a gallon. I mean, we picked it up in Boston, drove it to Connecticut, drove it all over Connecticut, drove it to Rhode Island, and then back to Massachusetts, drove it all around Massachusetts. And I think we used less than a quarter of a tank of gas the whole time we were there. And we probably put 500-600 miles on it.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why I don't understand why they didn't do something like push hybrid cars, that if they were going to screw us and not have enough oil for gas, or not pump enough American oil to make gas, then we still had something that got beautiful gas mileage. Because as I said on Thursday, and I said it on Wednesday, and probably even said it on Tuesday, and I've said it every day for 4 years, we get the gas mileage that Detroit and the petroleum companies here in the United States want us to get, because of course they've got to make a profit. So it's a pair, and I can understand that. But if gas prices suddenly go up to $18.06 a gallon,
I understand diesel's going really high right now.
Diesel is going up. Yep. And the other thing with diesel is that the trucks that are 2010 or newer need that DEF stuff. And if they don't have it, then or the right level of it, your engine won't even start. Vicky Schaffner at A1 Drain and Septic up in Licking and Knox counties, they had that issue where it was hard. It was hard to get. There was the big issue where Union Pacific told Flying J, the big operator of truck stops around the country, that they had to cut their shipments on Union Pacific from 30% of what they needed down to 15%, and made it even harder for them to get it. But I mean, that, it's like Jerry Michaels says on the American Rebellion. We have so much oil under us that if we just pumped out what we needed for us, gas prices wouldn't be anywhere near what they are.
They'd be down to $1 a gallon like they were before.
People would still be buying gas. I mean, under Trump, it was $1.86 a gallon when he left. So even if, and I've said even here in Florida, it was $2.93 a gallon when we moved here 10 months ago. Make it $3 a gallon, which gives 7 cents more in Florida gas tax, because they take care of their roads better than I think any other state I've lived in. So help them a little bit, and I think everybody in northern Florida where I am would be happy. But I mean, they'd be happier if it was $1.50. They'd be happier if it was $1. They'd be happier if it was 50 cents. But I don't know.
All I know is that, if someone on the left could come on this show and tell me why the Democrats are hell-bent on destroying our nation, I think I would, I could die happy.
They won't come on and tell you why they're destroying it, but they'll come on and claim why they're saving it, why they're building it back better. And you know what? I wish they would. I really do. I don't understand why, and I don't want to get YouTube mad at me and end up getting a strike or just getting thrown off of YouTube. But it's the same thing that I've said to Facebook. I don't want to argue about freedom of speech and being able to be on a public forum and not be censored and all of that stuff. I don't want to do that. I don't want to waste time filing class action lawsuits or being a part of a class action lawsuit, because Facebook and YouTube and Google, you all have more lawyers than I'll ever be able to hire. And I may be able to find that one lawyer that is going to want to take it. But, I got dementia. And in 20 years, when you settle this, I won't be here. maybe.
That's probably how long it would take too for a class action suit.
Right. And I don't want to waste my time on it. And I'm not asking. It's like I tell people every day, don't invite me into your Facebook lawsuits on all of this. And it's not that I don't want to be invited, and I don't want to collect hundreds of thousands of dollars or maybe even millions of dollars. I just want them to do what they're supposed to be doing and how they're supposed to be doing it. And if Elon Musk is successful liberating Twitter, I don't think anybody, even Democrats, much will remain on Facebook, because all of their friends are going to go over to Twitter and use Twitter. A lot more has to happen over at Twitter. It's like, if it's just going to be the Twitter feed with, you can post your broadcast or anything else in the Twitter feed. If it's just going to be that classic Twitter, I won't spend a whole lot of time there. I'll post on it, but I won't spend a whole lot of time there. If he adds groups and he adds groups, and you can do your broadcast, because there are organizations which within Twitter do that. Twitch is part of Twitter. People need to really go into their favorite browser and type, what are the Twitter companies? Because there is such an awesome back office behind Twitter, which will help allow Elon to take Twitter and do what he wants to do, because it's already turnkey. If he had to launch his own social media network and then get all the modules that he wanted for it, come back maybe next year and he might have it done.
Let me ask you this before I run out of my time here. Okay, it's going to be 2 hours and a couple minutes.
Yep.
If Elon Musk is successful in doing what he claims he's going to do you think people are going to jump ship from Truth Social to go back to Twitter, or do you think they'll use them both at the same time?
I think they'll continue to use both. Well, I hope that they would continue to use both. I tell people, Facebook didn't create social media. It was here years before Facebook came around. Back in the dark ages, 1982, when I started playing with what became the internet, it was dial-up, packet switching networks. You dialed the number and you got into the network, and that's how we did it. And then, Wi-Fi came along, and it's better and it's faster, and, more people are on it, more things are on it. But in my head, I don't understand why you can't use Facebook and be as active on Facebook as you want. You can't go over and use StreetLock and be as active as you want. You can't go over to Gab and do that, MeWe and do that, Twitter and do that. I hope as much of classic Twitter stays there and expands. Whether or not Trump will continue to own Truth Social, or at some point want to sell it and just be the champion of it, I don't know. Or whether or not Truth Social won't be able, well, he could raise $44 billion and buy it from Elon, but I don't think he will, because I don't think Elon is going to ever let it go, because he will have hopefully been successful doing what he wants to do. And I hope that as soon as he has it operating that way, there is some kind of live streaming option built into Twitter, which is what Twitch is, I think. There's another one within Twitter too. I think it was called Periscope or something like that.
Yeah, Periscope,
which you could live stream through Twitter. If that's there and it's beefed up to date and ready and modern, and someone like me can join Twitter and use Periscope for free to live stream on Twitter and still have the option to share while you're live from there and be everywhere else. And, it all comes into one one live chat, awesome. I mean, I don't have the money to build a studio that all these other big shots have. I don't care about the bright lights and the flashing words on the screen, because to me, all of that stuff that you put on your screen that takes away from the mouth moving and what they're saying, takes away from the mouth moving and what they're saying. To me, it's more important what people have to say and hope that people hear it than having bright lights and cool graphics all over the screen, or being able to import video from a source that you don't have permission on, so that when you do it on Facebook, you're going to get a copyright violation because you didn't have permission. And then in my particular case, Facebook went back about a month ago to copyright violation things that they had already settled as far back as 4 years ago, and decided that they were going to spank me for them again. And I guess the only reason they're spanking me for them again is because those things are still on Facebook. And in 75 out of the 100, they have already taken the thing off of Facebook, but they're still spanking me for it ever being on Facebook. Enough is enough is enough is enough is enough. In the case of Facebook, you have me buried so far down in the news feed that I have to write 15 blog posts every day that I put at the bottom. Please share this, that I know people will share, so it gets into the news feed, and it keeps me current, keeps my news feed current. If I post on Sunday,
look at the politics, or not the politics. Well, with the Supreme Court justices, they went back to the damn high school days to try and find dirt on Trump's choices for Supreme Court.
They're going to do that, but it's like we said on Wednesday with Ray Ray before you have to go. Amy Coney Barrett, Supreme Court Justice, is saying, I'm on the fence as to whether or not I agree with President Biden or I don't. Well, and like I said on Thursday, Justice Barrett, your job is to look at the Constitution and see what it says and what it doesn't say, and then make your decision on whether or not it's legal according to the Constitution. That's it. If the Constitution, when you get down into the presidential rule book section, says a president can do something, then he's allowed to do it. But if it says he is not allowed, or if it doesn't say he's allowed to do it, then you got to assume he's not allowed to do it. And if the House of Representatives, Speaker of the House, has told him you can't do this, then that's the end of it. You can't do it. So a Supreme Court justice shouldn't be saying, I'm on the fence as to whether or not he can do this or can't do this. According to the Constitution right now, there's nothing in there that says he can't do it, but it's not in the Constitution right now because they didn't want the president to be able to do it. So
I see what you're talking about Trump, right?
Right. Let me give you your 3 minutes as we close.
I'm not going to close with with my normal pitch with my ancestor, because I'm starting to get some people responding. Just that I gotta get them. I gotta clench them. I actually had one person reach out to me just a little while ago. He's taking advantage of his 15 minutes for free. His question was, his grandfather's last name Holder. Where did it come from? Did it go through any changes? What does it mean? That kind of thing. So I'll be researching that after I jump off here to find out what that is. And then, again, if he wants to go further on this tree, then we'll talk. Charge it again. I'm cheap, guys. $250.
We're not trashing anybody about saying we shouldn't use names. We shouldn't use names. But if the offer, people, is you get 15 minutes for free, and then you decide whether or not you want to continue and you have to become a paid customer, unfortunately, that's the rules of the game. Because, Randy, just like any other businessman or woman in this country, has a right to operate his lemonade stand and support himself. But anyway, I digress, and we go back to Randy, who now has 2 minutes.
Otherwise, you hear me, bashing the whole, voting system, but you guys gotta get out there and vote. Prove me wrong, please. Let's break those algorithms that, the Democrats are using to take away from the Republican voters and add into the Democrats. Let's make it so damn difficult that they can't cheat. Prove me wrong. And that's what's going. The midterm results is going to what persuade President Donald Trump to announce that he's going to run for 2024. Personally, I think he ought to be president by end of 2022. That's another story for another broadcast. That's it. You guys have a wonderful Friday. It's actually pretty warm outside today. It's supposed to be like in the 60s here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So I'm going to be enjoying the weather.
Oh, you stole my weather thing. On that note,
sorry. You give weather in Florida.
No, that's okay. On that note, Randy, making a great weekend. You never know, because it's Friday, whether or not something will be happening.
I know all about taking meds, Jen. Trust me. One thing I will say this. I had the 4 total knee replacements, and I had a doctor and a surgeon who kept me on hydrocodone, gabapentin, and oxycodone for 10 years because I was suffering from pain because of screw ups of the surgeons. I finally convinced them to get me off of at least 2 of the opiates, oxycodone and hydrocodone. And I was pain-free until I did something stupid. Now the pain's back. But the point of it is that for 10 years, I was suffering pain. My question that has not been answered is, obviously the medication tricked my brain into thinking I was feeling pain. So how many of those 10 years was I actually pain-free? So I'm not saying don't take pain meds, but certainly
not doctors, not lawyers. We can just suggest. All right, Mr. Rhodes, always a pleasure. We will see you here on Monday. He parachuted out himself. Thanks for the show. I have to go take meds. Have a great rest of the day. We will, I hope you do as well, Kim, be here Monday. Bring some friends with you if you come in Monday, or like I said, anybody on Monday through the graciousness of YouTube, if we are still here on Monday, is more than welcome to come into the Boogie with the Bull YouTube live chat here on the Boogie with the Bull channel on YouTube. I'm not knocking YouTube because I don't want to get booted from them just for saying this. It is kind of difficult to find us when we go live because first we send it to StreamYard. StreamYard sends it to YouTube, just like they send it to Facebook or they send it to StreetLock or any place else that we're going. And there can be a delay sometimes of a minute to as long as 15 minutes before it actually goes live. And on YouTube, you search Boogie with the Bull. I would wait. We go live at 7:30, so I would wait probably until 7:35, and then at 7:35 go to YouTube, search Boogie with the Bull, and scroll down until you find the one that has a little red bar on it that says live, and that's the live one. I will, unfortunately, I haven't been able to find a number to call someone at YouTube in the tech department and have them see if there's a way to speed it up, or talk to StreamYard to see if there's a way to speed it up. There are ways on other social media networks where I believe we can, if we use the same link, like if we took the YouTube link and we used the same one every day rather than having a new one assigned to it when we go live on YouTube. If we use the same link every day, that link we could take and embed on a post on Facebook, embed on a post on StreetLock and any place else. And then when we go live on YouTube, it will be live on every place else. Like I said, we will, as early as we can on November 3rd, we will sit down with StreamYard and get that worked out. That will give us 3 destinations live at the same time. Of course, for now, it will be YouTube, who I hope will allow us to continue to stay here as long as we don't violate the community standards, and we'll use language that gets our point across without saying things that we're not supposed to say. Same thing on Facebook, and we don't have those problems on StreetLock. We'll also be looking for other places that we can be live on. Facebook is always going to be Facebook. YouTube is going to be YouTube. I'm sure StreetLock is always going to be StreetLock, where you're pretty much free to say and do whatever you wish in a broadcast, and people have a right to come on to that broadcast and either disagree with you or communicate it that way however we wish. You always have until 7 p.m. You always have until 7 a.m. the morning of a broadcast on Boogie with the Bull, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You have until 7 a.m. Eastern that morning to let me know that you would like to be on a broadcast, who you are, what you want to talk about. And you have to let me know no later than 7 a.m. The links go out at 7:15. We go live at 7:30 or 8 o'clock, depending on what time I can fire up the studio. And we go an hour, 90 minutes, or even 2 hours sometime. That's what we do. So I will continue to invite anyone to join us on camera as well, as long as there is a camera available for that broadcast. And if there is not one available for you on that broadcast, then we will schedule a broadcast that it is. In the case of just having a general roundtable discussion, Boogie with the Bull gets 3 cameras, myself, Randy Rhodes, and one other person, or in the case of we get 3 and you get 3. And that's the best we can do on that case. If you only have you, then you get 1, and the others, if we fill all 6, are however they come. We won't gang up on you, so I won't ever set something so that there's more of us than there are of you. We will win in the end because there are more of us than there are of you, and that involves every Republican voter going out and voting on Tuesday, November 8th, and making sure everybody that is a Republican goes out and does it. I know some Democrats that are hinting around that they're going to vote Republican this time because they want that change in their states. And whether they do, they do. And if they don't, they don't. I will say this. The views expressed on Boogie with the Bull are those of myself and any guest that are on a broadcast. They are not necessarily the views of Facebook. They are not necessarily the views of StreetLock. They are not necessarily the views of YouTube or Google. And the only reason I say that is because YouTube, according to my understanding, is a public forum. Facebook, according to my understanding, is a public forum. StreetLock, according to my knowledge, is a public forum. On a public forum, there is no right answer. There is no wrong answer. We all come to the table and have a discussion representing our own personal views. And that's it. So if we do a broadcast that talks about things that could have happened in an election, we're talking about our view. And I did send YouTube a reply to the warning that I got yesterday, same as the warning that I got the first time, is come and answer some legal questions that that I challenged their removing Wednesday's broadcast, and they unfortunately sent me back that they stand behind their decision because they can't have things that were said being there are things that we said and how we said it being in a broadcast on YouTube. And that's why I just want YouTube to explain to me, are they a public forum or are they a publisher? Because if YouTube is a publisher, then yes, they can control who gets a YouTube channel. They can control who is allowed to use it and how they're allowed to use it, this, that, and the other thing. So that's just the understanding that I want to have. Is YouTube a public forum under Section 230, or are they a publisher under Section 230? If they're a publisher, then yeah, we can't do some of the things we do the way we do it. Facebook is a public forum. If they become a publisher, then we can't do some of the things that we do over on Facebook, and we couldn't do some of the things that we do on YouTube. On StreetLock, if StreetLock became a publisher, but StreetLock is never going to become a publisher, to the best of my knowledge. I call StreetLock the conservative alternative to Facebook. StreetLoc.com, StreetLock.com. Go over there and join it. Make me a friend of yours on StreetLock. Then go over to the public groups and join the Ministry of the Truth group and God Bless Trump and the USA group over on Facebook. If you're not my friend, make yourself my friend. And I will invite you to join our groups over there. The Ministry of the Truth, the Hardcore Conservatives group, the Fear the Proud, the Deplorable group, God Bless Trump and the USA group. Let's see. American Regulators, Boogie with the Bull, Citizen Journalists for the American People, and Conservative Freedom Defenders. 8 of the best conservative patriot groups on Facebook. As far as I am concerned, they're not the biggest, and they might not even be the best, but they're groups that I think you need to be involved in. Downstairs on Facebook pages, we have the Boogie with the Bull page. As I have said earlier, a mishmash of everything that gets sent to me to post in the groups, as well as things that I want to just post in on the page and things that other people might ask me to post on the page. If you have something that you want to post on the page on a regular basis, then you can become an editor, and you are more than welcome to post that speciality on the Boogie with the Bull page. Always a pleasure to have Randy Rhodes with us, and he will be with us when he can. Thanks to Gen Xer Kim for being the first person to join us in the Boogie with the Bull YouTube live chat. And with the grace of God and YouTube and Google, we will be back here on Monday with another fine episode of Boogie with the Bull. Another fine episode of Boogie with the Bull. If you want to be on a Boogie with the Bull broadcast, then hopefully it will stay on YouTube, Facebook, and StreetLock for the time being. Message me on Facebook Messenger. Tell me who you are, what you are, and why you should be on a Boogie with the Bull broadcast. And 10 out of 10 times you'll be invited to be on. Your choices right now are Monday through Friday, 7:30 Eastern or 8 a.m. Eastern. Depends on when we can actually go live on those days. And we're still kicking around something for Wednesday night, 8 p.m. I wanted to do that now because of other people going into that time slot and some that are still in that time slot. I'm not really sure I want to go up against that. It isn't that I don't want to be on at the same time people are on. It just makes it hard that if a bunch of us are on at the same time and you want to watch one of them, it's kind of hard to watch the others unless you're someone like me and you have 27 devices and you can have them all on your desk at the same time. And then still that even becomes hard to watch all of them. One that you should watch because it's Friday is the American Rebellion on the American Rebellion blogger page, or also in the American Rebellion group on Facebook. And be there. They're there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern. Sometimes it ends a little early. Sometimes it ends a little later. Doesn't really matter. Just go there. It's a bunch of casual people, kind of like doing a larger broadcast than Randy and I. The link is usually there. And if you want to join the broadcast, Jerry Michaels normally will invite you to do that. And everybody, respects everybody else and gives everybody a chance to talk. And the live chat is always very active, and you should share it all over your Facebook groups. The American Rebellion broadcast Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, and maybe a bunch of other places. If there are other places you would like to see Boogie with the Bull on, thanks to YouTube having us here, as long as we can be here, then you can take the link from a Boogie with the Bull broadcast and share it anywhere you want on the internet. I'd just like to know so I can go there, because I want to go watch and read any comments that come in afterwards, or any comments that came in before. Like I said, it is very possible once November 3rd hits that we'll get everything hammered out with StreamYard, and we'll be live on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. I think it takes a day longer to get StreamYard, get StreetLock set up, but we will get it set up. And hopefully once that happens, we're going to try to limit it to an hour to an hour and a half tops. The 2 hour and longer is probably a little bit long for a lot of people. So on that note, I'm Dave Woven. You're not. It's a beautiful day here in Florida. Make sure you get out there and spend some time outside. Don't always stay inside with the shades drawn and do whatever. I got to feed Delilah. I got to feed me, and figure out the rest of the day. I will see you on Facebook. I will see you on StreetLock, and probably everywhere else. Gab, in the Boogie with the Bull group, MeWe, we have a whole bunch of groups. And if we're not where you think we should be, then let me know, and I'll make sure that we can get there. We're on Telegram. We have access to a whole bunch of Telegram groups. And if I could pay a live producer, or pay more than one live producer, I would do that, so that we would have a big share team sharing everywhere, and making sure that we are everywhere that people want us to be, and everywhere that we want to be. I'm Dave Woven. You're not. Like I say, go out there and make it a fantastic weekend. You never know. You might see a Boogie with the Bull pop up at any time. We did get a hold of Randy Griesenbeck, and if things fall into the right place and the stars are aligned, there's a good possibility that there will be a Boogie with the Bull later today, probably here on YouTube, and then live linked over to Facebook and StreetLock. The live chat will be here on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. So thank you for everybody who actually came over to the YouTube channel and watched. Thanks to Gen Xer Kim for being in the live chat and showing everybody that it does in fact work. Thanks to StreamYard for helping us get to YouTube, and then YouTube for helping us get to Facebook and StreetLock. And on that note, I've thanked everybody that I want to thank. I'm going to fly up and hit this one. Double V's for victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast has come to an end. And then come down and do this one. Double V's for victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast is going to end.